Alright. So, I've already got this all worked out so that, hopefully it won't be a very long video. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But so here it goes. So we've got Kieran and Claire who live 24 miles away from each other along a rail trail, whatever that is. One Saturday, the two friends start walking toward each other along the trail at 8 a.m. with a plan to have a picnic when they meet. So Kieran is here and Claire is here. So after 1 hour, Kieran's walked 3 miles and Claire's walked 3.4. Now they're a total distance of 24 miles apart. So we add the distances that they've walked to get 6.4 miles. We subtract them from the total 24 miles, and that gives us 17.6 miles. That's how much left they have to cover. So question 2 says, make a table showing how far apart the two friends are after 0, 1, 2, and 3 hours. So we make our table. Well, after 0 hours, they haven't gone anywhere. So that means that they are still 24 miles apart. And so after 1 hour, we already know that they are 17.6 miles apart because that's what we just found in question 1. And that would be my cat trying to talk to me. Then after 2 hours, well, they've walked another 6.4 miles. So we subtract 6.4 from 17.6. And we get 11.2. And then we subtract 6.4 from 11.2 and we get 4.8. And so there's our table. Then it asks, at what time will the two friends meet for their picnic? Well, we know that they're 4.8 miles apart. Well, we know that it's not going to be 4 hours, that it's going to be less than 4 hours, because if they could do another 6.4 miles, so another hour, then they will have passed each other. So it's going to be less than another hour. So we put this distance over the 6.4 that we know that it's going to be for an hour. And so we have a fraction. Now we move the decimal over because we don't like decimals and fractions. So we have 48 over 64. And so I just divided top and bottom by 2. And got 24 over 32. Then I divided by 2 again and got 12 over 16. Divided by 2 again and I got 6 over 8. And I divided top and bottom by 2 again and I got 3/4. So that means it's 3 3/4 hours that it'll be until they get to each other. And so 3 3/4 hours means 3 hours and 45 minutes. And so 3 hours and 45 minutes after they started would be, 8 o'clock plus 3 would be 11, and 45 minutes later would be 11:45 a.m. Now, question 4 says that Kieran says, if I walk 3 miles per hour towards you and you walk 3.4 hours towards me, it's the same as if you stay put and I jog 6.4 miles per hour. What do you think he means by this? And is he correct? Well, yes, he's correct. Because it's the same distance being covered. The only difference is that Kieran is the only one moving. So he's saying that, if he runs that distance and he runs at the same rate as they're walking towards each other, then he'd cover that amount. They'd still meet up at the same time. It would just be that he gets to Claire's house instead of them meeting somewhere in the middle. Okay. Now, for question 5, several months later, they both set out at 8 o'clock again. This time with Kieran jogging and Claire still walking at 3.4 miles an hour. This time they meet at 10:30. So how fast was Kieran jogging? Well, if they set out at 8 o'clock, 10:30 is 2.5 hours later. Well, so we do 3.4 times 2.5, and we find that Claire covered 8.5 miles. So 8.5 miles from 24 miles is 15.5 miles. So 2.5 hours divided into 15.5 miles. So we move the decimal over because basic long division. And well, 25 goes into 155 6 times. With 5 left over, bring down a 0, and it goes into 52 times. So 6.2 miles per hour. Okay. So we find out what they were doing and divide by how much time. Now for activity 2, it's a similar situation. We're going to go and say who was moving faster and how much faster. Well, we want to get it so that they are in the same units. Okay, this was 2 miles in 12 minutes, and this was 1 mile in 24 minutes. Well, we want to get it so that they're in the same amount of minutes. So, times 5 gets 60 minutes, so times 5, and so that's 10 miles an hour. Okay, kitty, stop pushing on my arm when I'm trying to write. And so here, 24 doesn't go into anything evenly to get to an hour. So we divide by... Kitty, stop pushing on my arm. So we divide by 2. And then we multiply by 5. And so that means we have 2.5 miles per hour. And so Jada is going faster by 7.5 miles per hour. And so how far apart will they be after 15 minutes? So I set up a little table and said, well, again, I started with the miles per hour and divided by 4 to get to 15 minutes. Well, 10 divided by 4 is 2.5. 2.5 divided by 4 is 0.625. And so if they're going in different directions, this is 2.5 this way and 0.625 this way. So we add them together, and so that's 3.125 miles apart. Now this last one is where it gets tricky, because it wants to know how long it'll take them to be 5 miles apart. Well, we know that it's 15 minutes for them to be 3.125 miles apart. So we take that away from our 5. Okay. And we're left with 1.875. So again, we've set that up as a fraction. It's that, because we know it's not going to be another, that since that, I'm sorry. Since we know that it's not going to be another 15 minutes, since this is less than that, we're going to put it as a fraction. And so we get rid of the decimal, we move the decimals over, and then we reduce. Now, again, just like I said earlier, I divided by 2's earlier, but we could have divided by 4's, we could have divided by anything that we saw that goes into them. Here, I recognize that this ends in 75 and that ends in 25, so I'm going to divide by 25. And I say, well, 25 goes into 1875 75 times. Goes into 187 7 times. With 12 left over, bring down the 5. And 5 times 25 is 125, so that's 75. 25 goes into 3125, goes into 31 time. With 6 left over, bring down the 2, goes into 60 2 times. With 12 left over, bring down the 5, and it goes into 125 5 times. So I've got 75 over 125. Well, 25 goes into 75 3 times, and it goes into 125 5 times. So I've got 3/5. So I want to know what 3/5 of 15 is. So I do 3/5 times 15 over 1. Because I want to know how many minutes that is. Well, 3 times 15 is 45. 5 times 1 is 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So that means it's 9 minutes. Plus the 15 minutes to go here. So that's 9 minutes. So 15 and 9 is 24 minutes. And so it will take 24 minutes to be 5 minutes apart.